This video on solitude and its esoteric symbols. Okay, so get some snacks, get comfortable. This is for anybody that might be going through a dark night soul or a period of time where they feel alone. The Hermit is a great representation of solitude because it teaches us how to descend before we ascend. As you can see, the Hermit is in darkness. There is no sun. He's got a lantern that he's holding to bring him some light. He's also supposed to be standing on the moon. This all portrays a dark night of the soul. The Hermit deals with the ego. Ego means I in Latin. There is no ego. There is no separation of the person. It's simply a made-up construction. There's the separation of realities, the separation of the selves, of the I, the me, my soul, and the ego is non-existent. It is all one. It is all one thing. The ego is only here to protect you from something that you've experienced. And yes, it might do it in a very immature way, but it is still a protective mechanism. So when you are faced with a situation that frustrates you and you see your ego standing up and trying to protect you, don't shoot the ego. Realize why the ego is acting that way. And that is brought out very well when you're on a hermit journey. They are out by themselves, as you can see, looking down, and look at your shadows. Hence why he's holding a lantern and bringing light to the parts that are only discovered when you are alone and when you are reflecting. So the moon is greatly associated with this because the moon is the light of the dark. It comes out in the dark. It's very subtle. A lot of things are very scary at night, and we are afraid of the dark because it's unknown, right? So the moon and the ego's relationship, esoteric symbolism, is that the moon brings light to your shadows. So when the Hermit is on the journey, when you are on the journey, the dark night of the soul, you are supposed to bring in the moon as lunar and the ego as will, having lunar will, right? So the moon represents this lurking of shadows in the dark, which represents your soul's pieces that are still in the dark, that might be bringing you circumstances that you might not necessarily like, these shadows of beliefs, these shadow values and thoughts and emotions that are stuck. You're supposed to bring into light with the moon, right? So the ego, which is will, the will of the lunar, together supports the transcendence of your shadows, your dark night of the soul, the uncovering of the treasures cloaked in mud and dirt. The moon is also a great representation of the feminine energy. The moon as the feminine and then the sun as the masculine. You can see how the sun's light reflects off the moon to cast the shadows out, to allow the soul's shadows to come out and be expressed. The staff that he's holding is a great symbol of the chakra system, how they line up. The lantern at the top of the staff suggests the fire, the energy that is transmuted from sexual energy should be used to fire up the chakra system, to open up the chakra system, to unknot every chakra system. And the fact that you are alone in this journey allows you to work through the chakra systems. Where do you feel knots and pain? Maybe you can go through grief. With the Hermit, in my opinion, it is very much a third eye, crown chakra, throat chakra, heart chakra sort of energy. But what people don't understand is you have to start with the root, and you can't skip to the throat, to the third eye and the crown. when people go through the dark night of the soul, they are forced to sit on the ground. You are forced to give up everything that you love. You have no interest in things. When you get into a soul awakening, almost everything around you changes. You no longer want to go to work. Things are being completely ripped out of your life. You might find yourself unemployed, losing relationships. You might even lose family. Either way, the universe will make sure that you are alone enough to work through the chakra system and unpick each one, and you have to start with the root. So that's what the staff and the lantern are really about. And the star that's caged up in the lantern represents the light of our consciousness and how much it needs to be freed. With the work of the Hermit, you need to also understand it's not necessarily that you need to work on being a better person and unfolding these shadows to quickly transcend them to a better place. The Hermit also is represented by Aries and the energy of Mars. When Mars and Hermit are together, it is more of appreciating the root, okay? Hermit energy is more spiritual, right, out of all the angel cards and tarot cards, but an important part of the Hermit is to fully allow yourself to roll in the dirt of the shadows, okay? We can't be sitting there telling the will to just be better. We need to dabble in it. We need to see where these shadows are coming from. Where did it start? Be completely okay with the answers you get back. With Aries and Mars energy, there needs to be a sense of determination, persistence, and dedication to the journey of the dark night of the soul. With the Hermit's energy, there needs to be constant persistence and allowing yourself to really be okay of letting go. To let go of every concept that you might have, because to be honest, if you've gotten to this point, you're going to be forced to let go. It is with this same dedication of Aries and Mars that are also a part of the Hermit's journey, the dedication of transcendence of the shadows up the chakra system, okay? Using your sexual transmutation energy, all the time that you've occupied by being alone, using that same energy to go up the chakra systems, okay? And also having the courage to have the sun reflect off the moon, the shadows that you have hidden away for so long and labeled as ego, which is lunar will. And while you're going through this, there will be some turmoil between the brain's intellect, the heart's emotions, and the reptile impulsive organs of the lower chakras, right? Not that there's anything wrong with any of these sections. It's just before you would have just worked with one sector on its own, but now you'll be forced to work towards a combination as making them into one. And you will learn how to talk with your heart and listen to your heart. And being alone in silence really activates the crown chakra, the heart chakra. And through meditation, I have to stress meditation will support you, and you don't have to do any long ones. 5 minutes is enough of guided meditation, or 10 minutes of guided meditation. And if you can spend the rest maybe right before bed or in the mornings for at least half an hour just being in silence any part of your day, it allows time for these shadow parts to come out, right? There's going to be some obvious ones that you can recall from previous relationships that will come up, that will allow you to dissect what made you feel a certain way, that you might have reacted to. But there's going to be things that come up that you was definitely not aware of, and that can only come up in silence when you are being 100% conscious of your surroundings and your activity. one tip that I recommend is if you want to make this journey a lot more easier for yourself, whenever you have the chance to do one activity, only do that one activity. So if you're washing dishes, just wash dishes. If you're going to go have a shower, just have a shower. Don't play music. If you're going to go to bed without anything on. If you're going to read, read. If you're going to listen to music, listen to just music and dance. Like, doing one activity at a time allows you to enter a flow state. And this then also allows you to be conscious in that one thing and give it your all detail. And that's when you start to get downloads of information. By preserving your sexual energy and making sure you're protecting your energy by being alone, just for this time, I think you'll learn how to be with others after a while. It's not forever that you have to be alone. It's just as long as you're familiar with the power that you hold within and know how to transcend it above, right? Naturally, there's going to be a time where you're definitely going to be called to leave and share your message and do the purpose. Okay, so as you bring it up, that is you heating your own waters up and bringing the chakras to alignment. And if you practice this daily, the more powerful it becomes. So what benefits can you get from the dark night of the soul? Following your transmutation, following the dedication that you have to facing your shadows. The benefits are very life-changing. You will fully have a new, refined idea on your soul's journey, your purpose. I know most people that enter the dark night of the soul will enter it completely finished with life. Completely, it's almost not even a willingly going through a dark night of the soul. It's a force. The universe technically gets you to a point where you're so broken that you have no other choice but to drag yourself through the dark night of the soul. And trust me, I've been there. It is not fun. It almost seems pointless, but you have no other choice but to work through these things, because you know if you don't do this, you will not be able to live a normal life again. So what it really does is, when you're working through these blockages, through these traumas, through these beliefs that no longer serve you, through these limiting, worrying, everything that is false to who you truly are as a soul, which is light and love, as you work through these, and believe me, you're not going to work through all of them because you're still living. There's always more work to do as long as you're living. So the more you do this work, the more you start to see a new path. The moon works with you a lot, and it nurtures you and it heals you. But the sun eventually also comes out. The sun hits more on the moon and reflects it straight back to you, and what you get is a greater intuition, a greater clairvoyance, and a birthing of a journey that is 100% clearer than it was before. You know exactly who you are now, and what this means is the world no longer tells you who you are. Being able to work with this new clarity and vivid dreams and intuition and just knowing without needing to be intellectually right, but you know what's for you, supports your will. That ego that once was protecting you doesn't need to be there because it's loved, it's nurtured, and that ego turns into will and dedication and a protection. That ultimate conditional self-love turns into protection that the ego was once responsible for, the lunar will was responsible for. So now you get to be you authentically, and you have unlimited protection just because you know who you are and you love yourself enough to not impulsively react to situations. It's beautiful. You can either dance in joy or poison. So what this really means is you always have a choice. Even if you're going through the most traumatic time of your life and everything's going wrong and you don't know where you're even going and you don't even know if there's even a point in trying to ascend, appreciate the time that you have right now instead of continuously going over your shortcomings. Just dance in the mess. Dance in the destruction. Let it go loose. Let it all fall apart. Of course, not to the point where you die. You don't want to do that. To be honest, you have a lot of support around you. You know, the universe is always there. Your guides, your loved ones that are on the other side will always support you. And what's funny is you could feel like you are completely 100% down at this time. But because you're working on your healing, your intuition will be greater. So even if you want to destroy your life 100%, you won't, because you'll be listening and you'll be getting these messages. And some of your greatest moments might have started during the dark night of the soul. You might have had an idea during the dark night of the soul. Because you stopped caring about what other people think, like you're almost having an ego death, you might have a revolution where, because you don't care about what other people think, you start to serve your truest self, your truest heart. You're not alone. I think a lot of people go through this, also struggle with the idea that once you have this hermit energy and that you're at the rock bottom and you're, you know, coming up with new beliefs, new values, that you only can think of the higher realms. And that is completely wrong, because why else are we on earth if we're doing higher realm stuff? While we are on earth, we need to appreciate earth itself. The root chakra is so important for the rest of the chakras balancing. If you can just 100% root, like stabilize the root chakra, get down and dirty with the earth, go and touch soil, doing earthly things like working and stabilizing yourself and working out and moving the body, eating healthy. These things are a part of the hermit's journey. The hermit is to re-establish the beliefs and values that you have. And that comes with also recognizing every single chakra, including the root chakra. And since this is a work of the will, a work of the ego, you have to be willing to allow the ego to fully come out for you to work with the ego, work with the will, help the ego understand you are safe. Work with it. Don't run away from earthly desires. If anything, just know what exactly they are before you dabble in them. Okay, so that being said, sexual transmutation is a crucial aspect of this because it is a clearing of your chakra systems. So for you to be alone in this period sexually is a very important factor. Because you have not yet known your new path, you certainly shouldn't be in a relationship at this point, or you should just have a break, because your soul needs you right now. It does not need somebody else. Your soul wants to know that you can be the main primary caretaker of the soul instead of relying on other people. Hence why the hermit is fully alone, only carrying necessities like his staff and his lantern. But the ending is very beautiful. You will know your purpose, and the sun will shine so greatly. The little sun that reflects off the moon onto you will be enough for you to be so sensitive to life's joys. It's worth it. I think the dark night of the soul honestly doesn't feel too great when you're going through it. So any solitude time, if you're not forced by the universe to go through this time, then consider, do you know who you are? Do you know what you want? If there's any doubt on any part of who you are, and life gives you the opportunity to be alone for a minute, then take it. And you will have a whole new journey established. And as long as you have any doubt within you about something, somebody in the world will come around and tell you what to do with that doubt. And that will be a lie to your authentic self. And I don't want you to go through that. I really do actually love the Hermit energy and the moon's energy and the dedication that we get from Mars and Aries when it comes to the Hermit, because it is a beginning. It's an opportunity to discover, to find out what the heart is saying and what it's singing. It's worth it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you've got any questions, like and subscribe if you want more. And yeah, let me know if you're going through the dark night of the soul right now, because I would love to support. But yeah, that being said, I'm gonna go now, and I know this video is very long. I will see you next Friday. Bye bye.